Okay, good afternoon. This is Diamond Brown of DOB Coaching Solutions. It is 2:02 on September 24th, and we do have a few folks that registered for the webinar, but we'll get started with recording for uploading to our Thinkific page. So before we get into the slide presentation, I wanted to walk you guys through the course outline. Let me make this view a little bigger. Maybe about 125. Okay, good. So I thought this would be a good idea to kind of give you idea of the program, some of the ins and outs before I go into um, sharing. Okay, there we go. I thought it would be a good idea to go over this before I go into the presentation itself. So, so before we get started with the presentation or with the training program itself, I'll go over some general ground rules for the course, talk about hot seat coaching, and what that means is that during different days of the course, certain participants will be in the hot seat, meaning I will call on them. They will be responsible for answering some of our coaching and learning implementation questions more than others. We'll go over the course outline, go over all the dates of the course, go over any guidelines, and do a crash course on our course platform, Thinkific. All right, so in week one, the decision, I was kind of grade this out here. So we're talking about why your decision to be an executive matters, especially if you're a person of color or a female. Dig into that a little bit. Next, we'll share success strategies for the workplace, and then do some mindset reprogramming. And this will be really great for us as we get into our exercises and coaching questions, because resetting our minds and reprogramming our minds really helps us to goal set in a more courageous way. Next, we'll get into our limiting belief exercises, big why affirmations, and then goal setting. Module two, we'll talk about the path. So for the last 4 or 5 months, I've been interviewing executives, mostly executives of color and women, asking them about their journeys. So in module two, I'll discuss my research findings and I'll share my model. So I've pinpointed three distinct model paths, for executives. So they take one of three routes to get there. And I'll deep dive into that in this module and then help you determine your distinct path. It's good to pick one path and to stick to it. So we'll dig into that during module two. And then in module three, we will discuss the journey, and that's just development. You're going to have to go through constant development to be an executive. So, like I mentioned, I interviewed several executives, and these are the 5 key areas in which um, I've determined based on their responses is most critical. So, leadership, character, presence, communication, and how you approach your educational pursuits. Next is we will put together a gap analysis, meaning you'll take a real good look at yourself and see where you need to make improvement. And following that, you'll develop an action plan for development. In module four, we'll talk about some of the obstacles that will get in your way. And I've separated these obstacles into 3 categories: you, your organization, and your world. And we'll follow up that discussion with putting together some mitigators to address those obstacles. Also within this module, we'll discuss 20 workplace habits to break and then help you compile your mitigators list. This way you'll have at your disposal these mitigators to help you along your journey. Next is the brand, and really that's just a process of helping you develop your personal brand. So in this module, I'm going to recommend that all participants spend a few dollars to go on StrengthsFinder, about $19.99, to get a StrengthsFinder career assessment. And with that, we'll use the results of that as well as answering some other personal branding questions to help you arrive at your personal brand. We'll go over value proposition exercises and update your LinkedIn profile based on this model. In module 6, we'll talk about the seat. So I found in my research a very, very cool but critical article by the Harvard Business Review on the role of an executive and how it's changing. And in my opinion, the role of an executive once you get there is really to help folks who are um, coming up to go in your footsteps. I think that should be your number one goal. Of course, whatever your day-to-day job, but really you want to make sure that there's somebody prepared behind you with your same values to take your place once you're ready to leave. And then bonus module is just marketplace ministry. My niche for DOB Coaching Solution is working with faith-based professionals. I'm a faith-based professional myself. So I thought it would just be perfect to really talk about your role as a faith-based professional in the marketplace. So we'll dig into that in the bonus module. And then I'll share some of the executive interviews that I've conducted. So that is a snapshot of the course. I wanted to give you a little bit more insight before I went into the presentation. All right, so we'll start this from the beginning. So how to secure a seat at the table without losing hope and without losing your identity. So in most of my invitations, I mentioned that I would go over a 5-step approach to your next performance conversation. So this would be the training portion of our time today. And then after that, I'll go over my program itself, on my program, Future Executive Blueprint. We'll talk about how you can increase your promotability, how you can brand yourself as a leader or future executive, how you can gain and attract sponsorship, and how you can stand out within your workplace. So this is our agenda. So hopefully if you're listening to this webinar, either recorded or live, one of these or some of these pain points resonate with you. That you talk yourself out of applying to promotional and leadership opportunities, that you have a desire to make an impact but feel there are only a few slots available for women and minorities, or you struggle to overcome personal and workplace obstacles that could be hindering your success. You may have been inspired to take on leadership positions, but feel you may have to compromise your beliefs as you go up the ranks. And lastly, you may just be struggling to implement your personal brand. So my promise to you is that by the end of this webinar, I'll share you my revolutionary system, Future Executive Blueprint, that will address all of these pain points and more. So here, I wanted to say that you need the future executive factor. I saw this picture of this young lady, and I totally believe that she totally embodies in photographic form what I'm speaking about. So what I really want you to understand with this slide is that future executives attract sponsorship with authentic personal branding. So a lot of people work really hard, doing just at their desk, working hard. Some of them may be even kissing up to folks, and the workplace is just changing. It's changing in so many different ways. And I think that as professionals, we can get busy doing the wrong stuff, and we really need to make sure that we're busy doing the right stuff. And the right stuff will attract us to the decision makers who can get us to where we need to be. And that's what this program is all about, helping you develop your future executive factor by utilizing the Future Executive Blueprint. So I'm Diamond. I'm the founder of DOB Coaching Solutions. And over the past 15 years, I've coached over 2,000 professionals to meet their career and leadership goals. I'm also a 3-time professional development and human resources entrepreneur. And I share that just because I am a person that's very passionate about other people. So the very first business I started was called The Resume Lady. And I started that fresh out of graduate school in New Jersey. I just saw a number of people who really needed help with their resumes, and I could help them. And so I did. So it started very small, just by word of mouth, but I helped maybe hundreds. No, I would say more like 100 folks in New Jersey. Don't want to be too overzealous there. Help them with their resumes. So that really got my entrepreneurial spirit going. And in 2015, I was living in Germany, and I saw another need. I saw a number of military professionals that were leaving the military and transitioning into the civilian world. And those folks also needed resumes, they needed career coaching. They were getting into a total new way of working and they needed coaching. And then in 2015, that's when I started Compassionate Career Coach. And my current entrepreneurial endeavor, DOB Coaching Solutions, my goal there is to help faith-based professionals go into the highest levels of leadership during this time. We're just in a critical time here in the world. And I know a lot of people want to get into the entrepreneurial space, which is awesome and amazing. There's a place for that. But I do believe that there are some folks who need to stay in the organizations and make impactful change. So my story. So I am my client avatar. I am a faith-based professional who would like to become an executive. And I positioned myself well to do this 2 times in my career. My very last position, I reported directly to the vice president. And I started DOB Coaching Solutions because for me, it's a way for me to continue to keep myself sharp, continue to learn and develop in the area of leadership development, and position myself that once I re-enter the workforce, my daughter will be a little older in a few years. And if I re-enter the workforce, I don't have to start at the bottom. And I can position myself to take on the goal of becoming more specifically vice president of human resources and organizational development. So that's my goal. So I mentioned earlier that I've done a lot of research, just journal articles and interviewing executives, but I've also read a number of best-selling workplace books and articles. And that too has been very, very critical in me being successful within my own career, as well as coaching other professionals. So Future Executive Blueprint is a combination of all of that. It's a combination of my personal experience as a human resources professional, working globally, working for the United States government, working for private industries. It's a combination of the executive interviews that I've done. It's a combination of some of the books that I've read. It's a combination of some of the best articles that I've read. And I just put it all together into a program that I believe is revolutionary and can really change the way you approach the workplace. Okay, so let's go over these 5-step approach to your performance conversation. So I wanted you to know just to keep it brief. So be prepared and do your homework. Step 2, you want to quantify your achievements. And by that, I mean combine your organizational goals with metrics. Step 3 is to know your audience. So you want to tailor your approach. So think back to the last conversation you had with the leader that you're meeting with and see how they initiated the meeting. What types of documents did they have when they were doing their performance conversation? That would give you an idea of what they would prefer. Step 4, accentuate your strengths. So be comfortable with bragging. If you've done your homework in step 2 by looking at your objectives and putting them to metrics, then step 4 would be very easy because you've done the homework and the work required in step 2. And step 5, demonstrate knowledge of your mission. You want to connect what you do to the larger organization. Leaders love this. They love to see how what you do and how you have connected what the work that you do day in day connects to their goals and objectives, which contributes to the larger goals and objectives of the organization. So there's my recommended approach for your next performance conversation. Okay, so now we get into the meat and potatoes of our time today, more about Future Executive Blueprint. So I wanted to kind of lay the groundwork and let you know that the workplace is changing. And here are some of the reasons. So baby boomers are leaving the workforce at an alarming rate. It's according to Pew Research, between now and 2029, 10,000 baby boomers are projected to become retirement eligible and leave the workforce. So some of these individuals are currently occupying leadership and executive roles. And as these folks leave the workforce, you'll see an opportunity for you, a millennial, a Generation X, a Generation Y, to advance into these opportunities. Also, diversity and inclusion. I mean, just on LinkedIn and just in the world in general, just with the climate that we're in, the conversations around diversity and inclusion are just, to me, alarming in a good way. So the whole idea of diversity and inclusion being something that's valuable, that shareholders and leaders are taking a really good look at and making changes, becoming advocates of it versus being resistant to diversity and inclusion is a really good thing. And then next is acceptance. In my very last role as senior HR advisor before starting DLB Coaching Solutions, I could just see within the workplace, within the cultures that we had, it's just people learn to be more accepting of one another. There is some, of course, there is some resistance, but on the larger scale, people are just accepting of one another, their beliefs, their family decisions. You just see more of this acceptance happening. And then lastly, with remote working, it's something that we all are getting used to, but it changes the way that we work. So it changes the way that we add value as professionals. Your supervisor is not going to see you day to day. So how do you show value during your Zoom calls, through your emails? It's just changing the way that we add value. Also, our leaders, which you may be a leader, it's going to change the way you manage your workforce. So remote working is just having a huge impact on the workplace. All right, so Future Executive Blueprint. So it's a 30-day group coaching and course program. There's a 6-step process that I'll go into in the next few slides. But really the goals of the program are to help you develop a mindset to achieve your career goals, help you pinpoint a path to senior leadership, discover your personal brand, and to prepare you for workplace obstacles. All right, so the decision. And by this, I just mean the beginning, that you have made a conscious decision to be an executive. You're going to put the work that is required in to make this decision happen. Now, what a lot of people do is after they make this decision, they get comfortable somewhere along the way. They start making money at maybe the mid-level managerial level, and they decide, hey, I'm comfortable here, I'm making good money, there's no need for me to continue to advance. So my way around that is to have constant and continuous goal setting. If you are setting goals for yourself every step of the way within your career, and you know that the ultimate goal is to become an executive, you will continue to set goals for yourself, even if you become a manager or senior manager. You would know that this is not the stopping point. You'll continue to look to the future to make it to your ultimate goal. So the path, and by this I mean the route. So I mentioned earlier that in my research, I've determined 3 distinct paths that executives take to get there. Now, a lot of people kind of weave back and forth between these paths, and to me, that wastes a lot of time and effort. You need to kind of pinpoint a path, and this will help you to say no to certain opportunities and yes to certain opportunities because they will be distinct to your ultimate path. So this is why this part of the process is very important. Okay, the journey. And by this, I just mean the process of personal and professional development. And a lot of people don't feel the need to, become life learners. And this is something that I am a big advocate of, that if you just take on the mindset of that I am a life learner, that things are always changing, things are always evolving, and I need to be, learning all the time, you will be open to developing in these 5 key areas. A good way of kind of getting the ball rolling with this is talking with coaches, talking with trusted advisors, and asking them what you do well and areas where you need to improve. This will really help you to start your own journey of personal professional development. And next are the obstacles. Like I mentioned in the outline, I've kind of pinpointed the obstacles into 3 distinct areas. And what's critical here is that there's no way around obstacles. They are going to happen. You're going to have life challenges. You're going to have family challenges. And it's okay for those obstacles to knock you down. That may happen. You may have health issues. It's okay for those obstacles to knock you down, but don't let them knock you out. You have to be dedicated to the decision that you've made, because I'm sure if you made a decision to be an executive, it's for a positive and a good reason. And you need to stick with it. So within the course, within this course and group coaching program, this is a very touchy area, but I believe you would benefit greatly from the contents. And then the brand. You want to go through personal branding. This is another buzzword that people are talking about on LinkedIn and all over social media. You want to be able to express your personal brand. Now, this is also a little tricky because whether you know it or not, you have a personal brand. You're known for something within your organization. So you want to make sure that you're known for the right stuff. Be intentional about what you do and how you do it. So this module is also very critical for your success within the workplace. And last, the seat. This is your place of influence. I want to say that you have arrived. You have made it there. And I want to really show you how to excel within that role. Also, I think a very key point, as I mentioned, is to prepare those that are coming behind you who have also made a decision to be an executive, who are folks that you can say have this future executive blueprint written all over them, future executive factor written all over them, and you want to help them succeed. You want to help them get there as well. All right, so how much better would your life be if you had a mindset to achieve your goals that have helped you reprogram your mind with neurologistic programming? I also will be sharing a faith-based approach to reprogramming your mind to help you achieve your career goals. How much better would your life be if you had a personal brand that spoke for you without you having to, kiss butt or be a big advocate for yourself, that you could seemingly indirectly position yourself for the opportunities that you would like? And how much better would your life be if you were positioned, just by using your personal brand, having the right mindset, using the right workplace strategies, that you're positioned for promotion, you're positioned to be an executive? And how much better would your life be if you were ready to address the obstacles that you face? All right, so Future Executive Blueprint. So the introductory offer is available now for $297. So as you can see. So this is 6 weeks of group coaching and feedback by myself, certified HR professional, certified recruiter, and professional coach. 6 step-by-step video modules. So you have lifetime access to these video modules. And as I update the course along the way, you'll have access to these updates. Various templates and worksheets to help you implement the learning. And then an accountability group of like-minded professionals within the course, which I think is very good to kind of iron sharpens iron. And then some course bonuses, like I mentioned, marketplace ministry. We'll go over reprogramming your mind during the course, but I also will give you an ebook to kind of reinforce the learning and take with you along the way. And then again, those 3 executive interviews. So this course itself is valued well over $5,000, but I will be giving it to you for $297. So I've done the work by talking with the executives and doing the research. What this introductory course is doing is I'm asking for you to guys tell me what's missing. You've gone through the course, and at this rate, I want you to be able to tell me what else do you think would be of value to the course. All right, so I mentioned earlier that if you would stay to the end of this course, that I would show you something cool. So if you go to my website, DLB Coaching Solutions, I'll show you how you can get access to my free gift, which is the 7-day resume boost printable. And if you'd like to schedule a call, you can send me a message on LinkedIn or on my website, and we can have a call on the number listed on the slide. And again, I just thank you so much for enrolling in the course, and excited about Future Executive Blueprint. Have a great day.